Alright, welcome back everyone. 欢迎大家回来。今天是第229天. It is day 229. Got a few things from yesterday. Vocabulary words to go over. Ow. Alright. So we have 任何任何okay. And a little shaky. That's fine. This was like any, whichever, whatever. 试图试图 to try 学校校 I don't want to talk about it. I got stuck on Xiao for whatever the many reasons. 检查 查 okay. Examine 好花peach blossom and缺 something 缺失缺是 nevertheless. All right. those 6 terms were cherry picked. All right, let's get into our lessons for the day.
彼此
彼此 other, compare each other, or other this. Oh no, this is not compare, this is this. 彼此 each other, the other this. Oof. Each other refers not only to this, but also the other, someone else. Okay, this oneself, and then the other. Okay, one another. I see. 彼此彼此彼此我们彼此信任
我们彼此信任
彼此信任
彼此
彼此okay.
邻居
we know 邻居我们的邻居常常帮助我们okay.
邻居寿司
right sushi 寿司我最喜欢吃寿司 I'm not sure if a lot of Chinese speakers tend to say this. Maybe in like a different context, but there is a lot of like cultural dissonance, or not necessarily cultural dissonance, maybe a lot of cultural bias. We'll say a lot of cultural bias between this is a comment made by someone who's enthusiastic about Asian culture a lot of times, because 寿司 whenever my parents say 寿司 no, they don't even say 寿司 some of the earlier times when they've experienced sushi was here in the United States, when sushi, right? And it's one of the things that are baked into the cultural availability and standards of culture. Having sushi, right, like raw fish, is it's something that to this day my parents still, despite acknowledging that it is incredibly an interesting experience that they don't find disagreeable, it's very hard to overcome the principle of sushi, like Japanese sushi. So I like eating sushi the most. Expressed in Chinese is an interesting thought. That's what I'm laughing about it. Because do you want to eat sushi or pizza? That's a very Americanized statement. Quite an Americanized statement. 寿司
皮肤
skin 皮肤我的皮肤 oh hey, it's itch. Oh, they substituted. Oh, interesting. They substituted sheep for this entire character down here. Oh, interesting. Oh, that makes sense. Young. Oh, young versus young. Intriguing. I don't know what that is though.
我的皮肤痒
Oh, it's still young. 我的皮肤痒 Interesting. Oops.
皮肤 损害，
损害，损 damage, 害 harm, 损害，乱 oh no, 乱 scepter, what is that? 乱丢垃圾，乱丢垃圾会损害环境 right 环境会hold it's the environment for sure, but I don't remember if it's 环境. Oh, it is 环境. How does that work? Is it like boundary?
乱丢垃圾会损害环境。
环境. Oh yeah, that's right. The circular boundary. Right.
损害，
损害. Okay.
彼此，
死彼此
皮肤，
皮肤
损害，
损害
邻居，
邻居
寿司，
寿司 oops 休息门诊let's see entrance oh yeah outpatient right outpatient 门诊 outpatients are patients that do not require to stay in the hospital right yes thank you for that clarification 门诊门诊不很忙门诊不很忙 oh the outpatients
门诊不很忙。
不很忙 oh two 不很忙 not 忙 whoops
门诊，聪明，
聪明 yeah 聪明他是一个聪明的孩子oops wait how did the
聪明，
right Casper thing
诊断，
诊断diagnose 断 break so break in the diagnosis so break off uncertainty yeah or a realization break diagnosis 医生诊断了我们something being 疾病
医生诊断了我的疾病。
arrow snot nope
诊断，寿命，
寿命 longevity lifespan makes sense or life 人类 right wait 人数 no wait 人类 Yeah 人类的寿命越来越长了。
人类的寿命越来越长了。
寿命，损失，
损失damage, loss, okay. Loss refers to things you lose, often due to them being damaged. 我们必须赶桥，喂，赶桥，赶桥。Is that gun? Or is it han? Or ho? Hold? No, 赶桥，损失。
我们必须减少损失。
It's Jian. Oh my gosh, Jian. I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. Turn to small. Turn to few may kind of elicit reduce, but it's reduce. Reduce, Jian. Dang it, Jian Xiao. Dang it. That's a weak one.
损失，
损失。Disappointing. Very disappointing.
门诊，
门诊。
寿命，
寿命。
聪明，
聪明。
诊断，
诊断。
损失，
损失。损失。Alright, next one, next one.
邻国，
邻国。Neighboring countries. Make sense? 邻国。加拿大是美国的邻国。Okay. Those are some very common words. More. Whoops.
邻国，长寿，
长寿 longevity. Okay. Or long life. Yeah. Long life. I would probably stick with long life. 喝茶有助于长寿。
喝茶有助于长寿。
长寿，肤浅，
肤浅。Shallow skin, superficial. Not skin deep, very shallow, right? Or skin deep, only skin deep, shallow. 现代社会很肤浅。Modern society is very superficial. Okay.
肤浅，
That's commentary. I think that doesn't age very well.
耐，
In a different way. Superficial is the idea of surface level is kind of old hat. what's considered superficial or not. Nai, to deal with. Interesting. Not familiar with this one. Nai. Ned Flanders is in the bath. Oh no, it's Ned Flanders. Ned Flanders is in the bathroom of the high school where he's trying to deal with. Wasn't there an endure? That was Nai. Or pretty sure it's endure. Yeah, Nai. I mean, it's completely different characters, but coincidentally, to deal with and to endure are very subtly similar terms. Where he is trying to deal with a big altar. Okay, to Satan. Oh, alright. That's somebody put up there. He's finding it hard to deal with the fact that such horrible people exist. He deals with the big altar that stretches from the tile to the ceiling by slowly taking it apart while muttering under his breath for protection and peace from his god. Okay. I mean, that kind of just follows check. He works at the, I don't know, Catholic high school, I suppose. They have no choice. Wunai. No deal with. No choice. Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
奈
Nai.
舍
Sure. A hut. Oh, that's very specific. Shrek is in the bathroom of the electricity plant, where there is a small electric hut made out of a giant umbrella in the center of the tile floor. Shrek goes into the hut and can't resist touching his tongue to the pole that holds up the umbrella. I can kind of see that. As a result, the electric hut shocks him to near death, and he rests in the hut to recover energy before going out to work. A little weird. I could think of it as a charging hut, right? A charging hut. Nah, he can just be chilling with his tongue. I need a tongue. Licking the charging pole. Electrified pole. Alright, fine. I'll give it to you. We'll see how long that lasts. Oh, dormitory. Oh. Oh, yeah, I remember this. Oh, man. This is from Duolingo. Su she. For dormitory. Su she. Dang. Far reaching. Nong she. Farmhouse. I think I'm gonna like a hut. It's not quite hut. I mean, like, hut is too specific, in my opinion. Let's say like room. It's operating like jia and shi are like shi. Yeah.
舍
Okay. Oh, right.
邻国
民国
舍 长寿
Ah, I missed an A.
耐，肤浅，
To tidy up. Oh. How's this? Sure. There's also a. It's not 时少. It's not 时少. 实习. No, 实习. I don't think so. 其实. Shi kuai. No. No, shi kuo. No. Shi cuo. It might be shi cuo. 错时. Shrek is inside the living room of the house which has fingers and gloves scattered everywhere across the floor from an earlier mishap when all of his guests dropped their fingers and subsequently discarded their no longer needed gloves. Shrek goes around and tidies up, wondering why he's the only one who did not lose any fingers. Maybe he... Alright. Shrek is inside the living room of the house, and for once, ogres do sometimes need to clean up the room. So in order to protect his fingers from all the very questionable things, he pulled out some gloves and started tidying up, right? That's good enough. Doesn't have to be elaborate. 手势 收拾. Interesting. 收拾. Oh, it's not. Huh. 迟缓. I thought it could have been like tidy was next to arrange or something like that. Okay.
食 厨
Oh, kitchen. Yeah, 厨. What did they place next to it? I don't think it's 厨馆. No, it's not 厨馆. 厨房. Oh, it's just 厨房. Yeah. 厨房是 kitchen. 厨房. Chucky is in Tokoro desu, right? Oh no, Dai Tokoro desu. Chucky is inside the house, hiding in the kitchen. He has built a little shack out of hollowed out drums and stayed in it in the corner. He holds a caliper and is waiting for someone to come into the kitchen to mix food so that he can unalive them. Yes. Yeah, 厨房 and 厨师. Oh, interesting. Chef. Makes sense.
厨壶
Ooh. Do we not have grapes? I swear. Oh, bowl. Bowl. Oh, no. Yes. Wait. I swear we just got grapes. Tao? Oh my gosh. Wait. Am I going crazy? Oh my gosh. They kind of look alike too. Got this grape. Which was Tao. Ooh. Is Pu Tao grape? No, that sounds weird. Tao Pu? No. Probably like something like Pu Zi. What is Pu? Okay. It's an interesting way to use It's an interesting way to bring back Popeye from the brink of extinction. What is it? Popeye and Rudolph, man. Popeye and Rudolph are very low on the list. And Ned Flanders. Ned Flanders, Popeye, and Rudolph. That's some mini uses, especially Popeye. Popeye is inside the living room of the house where he's growing grapes. Go in. He has a trellis sticking out of the carpet where a bunch of grapevines are. Some vines are flowering, and some are full of grapes. Popeye goes around picking the grapes and putting them in a container. He hopes to make some grape-flavored boiled spinach in the house kitchen tonight. Got that spinach in. No complimented spinach. Oh, it is. Pu Tao. For grape. Okay. Pu Tao. Makes sense. And then Pu Tao Jiao. I think I've seen Pu Tao because of it was part of the example for Tao.
Hu Li.
I just didn't remember. Li. You kind of look like experience, but not really. You substitute the crosses for the tree. And a cicada. Stern. Oh, wait. Oh, I recognize Lee from Japanese. Link is in the bathroom of the house where he's trying to organize some flowers in the bathtub at the direction of an extremely stern cricket. Link accidentally places one of the flowers crookedly, and the cricket, too stern to put up with such a mistake, kicks Link out of the window and down the cliff. Wow. I'm not sure how I feel about this. But I mean, a mischievous cricket is somewhat in Link's wheelhouse, you know? If he takes orders from a fairy, a cricket, I'm just imagining Jiminy Cricket just kicking Link off a cliff. Stern. Strict, severe. Let's say like Link is in the bathroom of the house where he's trying to organize some flowers with the utmost stern attention, right? Strict attention, stern attention, because he's trying to make a new like a new flower pad for his crickets, overlooking the cliff, right? Overlooking the cliff. Usually bathrooms are often overlooking a cliff, like sure. Is it sure? Yes. What was that? Persimmons? Yeah, persimmons. In a stern voice. Oh, Shang. Li Shang. Okay, severe. Ying Li. Makes sense. Pairs up pretty well.
Li Xun.
Xing? To inquire. Why do you look familiar? What was this? Was it part of Jun? It might have been part of Jun. But did it have... Hold up. If it's not, I'm not gonna look for it. It'll come up at some point. I want to say army. No, not army. No, I don't remember. Don't remember what it is. It'll come up at some point. Shun? How many shuns do I have? I don't think I have too many. Professor X is inside the sick ward of the infirmary. Oh, you know, the last shun is Seek. Oh, it's part of Seek. That's why I think it looks familiar. It's seek. Oh no, it's not seek. Dang it! It's not seek. No, it's not what I'm thinking of. It's fine. To inquire. It's kind of like seek. Holding a container with a miniature sun. In it that he found early on the floor. Oh, holding a container with a miniature sun in it that he found early on the floor. Every time I say in it, I think of in it. In it. Like ain't it? In it. He goes around inquiring each patient about it, trying to find out who owns it. His words of inquiry came out and hits each patient gently in their face. Or he just inquires about it using like his mental words, you know, projecting his words into. Anyways, miniature sun, fair enough. Good enough for me. 询问 makes sense. Inquire still. 查询 inquire makes sense. To consult. See? No. Oh wait, no, it's not the. See. 洗选. Interesting. I don't know what C is. C. That might be seeking advice or something like that. Advice. It kind of has advice in it. To some extent.
寻
寻. What incarnation are you? Gloves and fingers. Gloves, fingers. Idea. Okay.
十
Mm-hmm.
力
Oh, this can be a problem because it could be anyone growing, but the spinach though.
除
Okay.
寻
All right. All right, let's lock in for the day. No Shogun Showdown today. Getting way too late, yeah. All right. Try to lock in. My fatigue is setting in from earlier today.
观赏
观赏歌剧演出，
温泉
我要去温泉泡澡。
访问
正式访问，
Excuse me.
呼吸
你为什么呼吸时都喊叫？
内容
这本书内容很有趣。
Oops, wrong. Typed the wrong final there.
智力
那只狗智力低，
Still not the best on shout. Still not the greatest on shout. To observe the reward is to enjoy. Oh, sure. To observe is fine. It's okay. Observe and enjoy. We gotta think about writing it all out.
操作，
请操作这台机器。
Operate? Uh,
破案，
警方破案了。
破案。Like breakthrough, break a case, solve the case. Huh. Whoops. Oh man. Oh my gosh. What's happening?
纸，
Send help.
减，
Or reduce. Shrink and reduce is fine. Excuse. Oh, wrong tone. What? Oh, that's not poor. Just kidding. That's not poor. What the heck?
聊天，
请不要在工作时间聊天。
It's like press and break. It's like a break point or a breaking point or something like that. Yeah, to solve the case. Yeah. Like a breakthrough, so to speak. Oops. That's not... that's something else. Oh. Is it? I don't know. It's definitely... Wait, 追逐. Oh, it's 1? It's what I think it is, but I couldn't figure out... 追... What did I type? 追... draw... Oh, I typed draw, probably. Those are the two that I was thinking. But I didn't know what I was typing incorrectly. It's probably the first one. Probably type draw. Oh, and then I typed J on the second one. On the right. No. What? I'm mixing a couple things up.
追逐
他一直在追逐成功。
Yellow? Oops. Wrong tone.
股价
房屋的股价，
按
Oh.
帽子，
Dang it, I really thought this was like... Oh, this is gonna bug me so much. I'm gonna be so annoyed. Heckin' Yi? Oh, heckin' shift. This is not the first time this has happened. Heckin' shift. It's so terrifying when it's standing alone, not in the vocabulary. When it's in the vocabulary, it makes sense, like immigrate. Oh man. Alright, Yi, you got me. The mnemonic sucks too. It is saying Yoshi is shifting like Yoshi got a lot of grains, so he's gonna shift it into the kitchen, but it's Yoshi. But lots of people can shift grains. So I don't know what to do about that. How do we make it maybe like what did they do anything to no. There's nothing that there's nothing that makes it Yoshi. Maybe switching to a vegetarian diet. I don't know. Oh, fool. And then I lost this tiger. Why did I lose this tiger? Art. It's not that, no. This is kind of conundrum too. I don't think it's... No, that has like swords and stuff. There's not that much tiger. Oh. What? Oh my gosh, it's Lee. It really is Lee. Oh, it's fucking Lee. Ah, okay. Yeah. Lee is weak.
이,
I'm adding something in my head. Maybe like a party for Mario, but he's like gotta clear out the grains. And... no defining feature to make it Mario. To make it Yoshi.
守旧，
他爸爸很守旧，
Or conservative. Old fashioned is conservative.
绿，
Trying to add some stuff in my head. Okay.
松，
I lost this too. The meaning of this. Oh no, wait. Maybe not. Oh, it's a case, but it's still seizing the dollhouse. Case. I guess on needs work. That's where I lost the breakthrough, the case thing, because it was case. That was a guess. It felt right, and it didn't feel right.
仅有，
他是我仅有的朋友。
Huh. It's extreme, and that's South Pole. That's South Pole.
特殊，
这是一个特殊时刻。
赏识，
赏识艺术的美丽。
赏树一书的美丽。Award-winning, like great, appreciate. Oh my gosh. All right, so clearly we're having problems with Shang. So what do we have? Shang Shi, and what was the other one? Guan Shang. I don't think these expressions translate really well with the different components. Especially appreciate. The difference between enjoying and appreciate. Appreciating is to like enjoy and appreciate have two different nuances in English that I don't think translates really well with award. Because award can be something given or be something given or received, and appreciate and enjoy are out and in as well, and it's the reverse. So I'm having the reverse one. Guanshang. Guanshang is outward. You're enjoying something. You're enjoying something that is there. And then xiang shi, you are appreciating, even though shi is to know something outside. So it's all backwards for me. Like it keeps going backwards. Not that that's what everyone else has problems with, but it's, yeah.
虽
I think this is also the same with jiang, right? Jiang, which is reward, or yes, reward. Jiang can be your reward, or you're observing a reward. You can be given a reward, or you're rewarding something, and then the thing could be backwards. Like if you're given a reward and you're appreciating it, you're still appreciating the reward. But then if you're rewarding something, then it could be kind of close to awarding something. And man, I don't know if Jiang is in this. Oh, Jiang Shi. When you know something, it's internalized. So you're appreciating it, and then when you're observing, the observing observing to enjoy, observe and enjoy helps with that, because observe is in it. And we just practiced this, and now it's gone. Oh,
宁静，
我的公寓非常宁静。
peace and quiet, tranquil. Okay. Oops.
集体，
集体的智慧。
集体。
阶段，
这项工程已经完成了第一阶段。
集体。
阻力，
船会在水中受到阻力。
嗯。Resistance? It's probably resistance.
会，
Constantly your face.
治，
Politics work here. But govern is what they're looking for.
浅显，
这个问题很浅显。
It's obvious and shallow. Like easy and simple. Or simply. Maybe simply. I'm pretty confident it's G. Oh, G. Oh, it just happens in the living room? Okay. I'm not gonna worry about that.
首府，
加州的首府是什么？
加州的首府。Head government. Head office, capital. Okay. Okay.
南极，
南极的温度是-35摄氏度。
Form? Collective. Collective is an organization. It's also a gathering and a group. Okay.
学期，
学期什么时候开始？
Resistance is probably what okay. Easy to understand, that's fine too. Okay.
仅仅，
这仅仅是开始。
Ah! I don't want to talk about it. I gotta get this ball rolling.
网址，
这是我们的新网址。
Oops. I meant to type URL. I typed IRL. I don't think there's anything equivalent to IRL at the moment that I am aware of. Hmm.
负，移植，
这棵树被移植到了花园的另一侧。
老婆，
我爱我老婆。
Oh, zombie, right.
日，粮食，
这个地区粮食短缺。
形状，
这房间的形状是矩形。
Or shape, yeah.
考察，
我们需要更多时间来进行考察。
Check, test, investigate.
"骑马，
你会骑马吗？
What is this? A letter? Okay.
抱怨，
他经常抱怨工作太累。
Oh yeah, is to complain or complain and resent is kind of okay. Allocate. Oh no, I lost allocate. Yeah, I don't. I don't know. Let's guess.
冲，
Um.
"啊，
Son of a pet name. Oh no, Shen. Ah.
解，胜，
Heck, Kaku? No. I don't remember. No, I need help.
敏感，
政治是一个敏感的话题。
敏感。
深，采集，
采集树种。
胶带，
这卷胶带已经用完了。
It can gather. collect. Assemble is fine. I mean, gather is fine too.
穿鞋，
他从不穿鞋。
落，
Okay.
华人，
很多华人聚居在中国城。
雨，
Whoa! Sorry.
乘坐，
他们乘坐电梯上楼。
信贷，
我没有足够的信贷来买这个。
老将，
老将出马，一个顶俩。
所有，
所有的票都卖光了。
Heck.
勤劳，
他非常勤劳。
What? Oh, okay. I need to think about it.
痛恨，
我痛恨浪费时间。
Oh no. Oh no.
蛇，央求，
他央求我帮忙。
In the middle of helping me? Oh, plead. Oh, heckin' young Cho. And that's fine. Bottom of our heart, like middle of our heart, center of our heart. We already addressed that. Didn't want to think about it too long. I thought this was like oh.
智，
Oh, okay.
仍，
Okay.
后勤，
他在后勤部门工作。
I lost it. Oh, logistics?
吐，臭，面面俱到，
他的解释面面俱到，大家都听懂了。
恶，
Oh, it's so unique. I feel like, is that the only use for Oh no, 饿死. Oh, we didn't even get them yet. That makes sense.
情
What is this? Wait. Hold up. I've been here before. Oh.
甲 自尊
他有很强的自尊心。
防火墙
防火墙设置。
冰棒
我喜欢在夏天吃冰棒。
Heck.
皮 贺卡
你喜欢这张贺卡吗？
是香肠
香肠是我最喜欢的早餐食品。
小肠
小肠长度比大肠长。
违反
它违反了规定。
违反
冻结
这段水管冬天会冻结。
勤奋
他是一个勤奋的工作者。
陪同
我朋友陪同我逛街。
深
Ah! I was on the my groove.
违法
It's
他
gone.
做了违法的事。
竞争
他赢了那场竞争。
Conflict, competition. It's fine.
顺眼
看起来很顺眼。
Or smoothly, pleasing to the eyes. We're just gonna type smooth. The one that looks smooth or suave or something.
淡 痛骂，
他痛骂了我一顿。
Oops, that's not how you spell be right. Ah! Ah! It's full.
吓人，
突然的噪音真吓人。
得，
Son of a...
熟悉，
他们彼此很熟悉。
他们彼此很熟悉。Skin? Or not skin. Each other familiar? Okay.
圆，阴天，
今天是阴天，没有太阳。
忍不住，
他忍不住大笑了起来。
顿，饭，欣然，
我欣然接受邀请。
Or gladly. Okay.
反，冷漠，
大城市的人们比较冷漠。
蛋糕，
生日蛋糕很美味。
虚构，
这个故事是虚构的。
Again, fictitious. Shigo. Shigo kind of reminds me of a snow cone. Shigo. Or an ice like cream of something. Shigo. Huh. Like snow cream. Or something viscous. What? Oh. Oh, wait, 钱包. Not 钱包.
尊敬，
我们应该尊敬老师。
过剩，
市场上的食物过剩了。
Or like surplus. 过剩. Interesting. Um.
硬币，
我希望我有一枚硬币。
修改，
这份报告要修改一下。
Revise? That's fine. Pleasing to look at is fine.
钱包，
我忘了带钱包。
这份报告要对
恢复，
他今天早上恢复了意识。
软，驾照，
他拿到了驾照。
敬请，
敬请您提出您的意见。
冷冻，
这些冷冻蔬菜可以做成汤。
虚心，
虚心使人进步。
建筑物，
这栋建筑物有很多房间。
喷，驾驶，
他的驾驶技术非常优秀。
虚荣，
虚荣是不好的。
Heck, I lost it. Oh,
和，硬件，
这个电脑的硬件需要升级了。
dang it. I went for it. Or dodge. Dodge is the word they want.
建，空虚，
我感到很空虚。
我，建筑师，
建筑师设计了这栋建筑物。
想
Surpass. Leftover. Surplus. Surplus is fine. I said surplus, but I was curious what else could accept.
收养
收养孤儿。
Okay.
急
Not again. Not again. Hold up. Oh, okay.
喜 德国
这是从德国来的汽车。
I'm not sure how well that's gonna last though. What in the... What is that? Yeah, about that.
扇子
我是扇子的粉丝。
我对甜食没有 something called something. Yeah, I don't really like sweets, or I don't have a appetite. This is probably appetite. Oh, is it? Oh, maybe it's... I don't... What am I looking for? Way. Oh my gosh, a stomach. Oh, dang it. It's way again. It's not coal, it's way. Stomach. Appetite. That's how you say it. Way coal.
胃口
Didn't think about way. I was so far off way. And there are two ways with that, actually. There's calling as well. Way. Feels bad, man. What the... Oh,
Go. 想
Heckin' war. 卧什么？卧床。
卧床
他现在只能卧床。
Lie in bed, sure. I don't recall this. It's a sea coast or a river bank, right? Oh, maybe it's, wait, maybe it's not. No, it is. I thought it was like,
河岸
okay,
河岸上有一排柳树，
hey, it's fine. It's fine.
车票
你搭公车需要车票。
巧
What in the... Excuse me? Hold up. A foot in a moon? Hmm. A foot in a moon. How do we get foot and moon? Going with the head of something. Let's see. Woman. 我们终于得到了什么 something 的球something. Oh, wait. No. That doesn't make any sense. Alright. Shoken. Oh yeah, that's right. Good agreement. That doesn't help when you yell out stuff for the record 0. That kind of defeats the purpose of studying. If you're curious. And it doesn't have a tone. So the tone was the thing I was looking for. Okay. Let's see.
Zhen 首肯，
我们终于得到老板的首肯。
Nod of approval. Oops. 重情。
送行，
All right, so we got 7 today. That's below average. I mean, that's pretty all right. Slightly above average from here. Okay. Okay. So let's go over our stuff. There are a few weird ones in here. I think there might be a few weird ones. Actually, today was pretty good. This one was kind of weird. Lee. Nai. Sure. Cool. Cool. Xu. 寻 Sure. Yeah, this is traditional. It's simplified. Simplified gets it's not too bad going from traditional to simplified. And we're learning Japanese, so this is kind of a nice double stacking. 彼此选害邻居寿司寿命聪明选吃 no 选吃长寿 that's fine. 邻国肤浅 皮肤诊断门诊 Alright, let's go over our stuff here. We have Link, Mr. Link, who went to the bathroom of his house, trying to build a little enclosure with some flowers for his cricket friend. Right, his cricket friend, by the window of the bathroom next to the cliff, right? With that, the sternness, strict adherence. Oh, cricket. Try cricket again. Alright, so now we have Ned Flanders. Ned Flanders is in the bathroom of the high school where he teaches. It's Catholic high school. And he has to deal with a unfortunate, very large altar. Pagan altar. Not too bad. That works out on itself. That's pretty strong. So now we have Shrek, who's in the living room of the beach house. And there was a party, right? There was a party. There's a lot of promiscuous substances that he needs to tidy up. In order to protect his fingers and hand, he grabs some gloves. Then we have Popeye. Popeye is in the living room of the house where he decided to grow some grapes to complement his spinach. And he has a trellis. Growing with some flowering grapes. And then he picked those flowers and placed them into a container. Then we have Chucky, who snuck his way into the house through the living room. And now he's hanging out, slowly made his way into the kitchen, where he built a shack out of some empty drums of stuff. What is the drum at the bottom? Drum key. And then caliper in hand, waiting to pounce on his next victim. Right. Then we have Professor Xavier, Professor X, who's in the infirmary. And he's like taking care of patients. He came across a container with a miniature sun sculpture in there. So he went around using his telepathic skills to send out words to the minds of others to ascertain who it belongs to. But I lost the... He seeks... It's a different form of seek. It's just to find something, to inquire. Yeah. To inquire information. To seek information, inquire. Let's see. Then we have Shrek, who's in the bathroom, who made his way to the bathroom of the electricity plant to take a break, right? He needs a bathroom break. He noticed that this particular electricity plant has an interesting hut or resting area that has a umbrella, and he couldn't help but tried to lick the pole with his tongue and got a zap. Right? An electricity power plant after all. Hey, electric power plant. All right, so we got 4 things that were kind of weak. Which yi are we talking about? I've already forgotten. Can I recall which yi? I don't. I got it. Yi was right. Yi or shift. It's got to throw some Yoshi thing in here somehow. So Yoshi is collecting a bunch of grain at the request of Mario, right? And then you gotta shift and dump it all into the kitchen. Shift it all into the kitchen for Mario to come back and deal with. Then we have Li. Which Li are we talking about? It's Ponder. This Li. Which is Ponder. This one was okay. We had a mental block. It's fine. And then An. Which An are we talking about? It's the one with... Was it with the tree? Might not be. No, it was a tree. This is a case. Way. That's interesting. Then we have way. Which way are we talking about here? Oh. Nope. Yes. For belly. For stomach. Fine. And then Kun was... Agree. 2 vocabulary words. 想是 award. I need a reminder how to write. Okay. It doesn't look right. It's a member with the... its mouth with the... shellfish.我肯定这个答案是对的。Okay, fair enough. 你学习的中文，或你中文你是的中国人，或不是？你可以读中文，读到中文。还是你用的Google Translate。哦，你学的you're from Malaysia? I see. Hey, you're not another Malaysian. I met an 18-year-old who's about to like graduate, who's from Malaysia, who's learning Chinese. Learning Chinese because he can. He told me a lot about like the whole situation with like some people go to Chinese, like learn Chinese in school, some people don't, that kind of situation. Yeah, 我的父母是中国人。我是美国人。我不可以读到中文，但是我现在学习中文。It's been about a year, like over a year. We're getting close to 2 years doing this, but I wasn't able to read. A lot of times I'm a heritage speaker, so I kind of somewhat it's not very difficult to listen to 中文和Cantonese 广东话可以Fujianese. I speak Fujianese at home. So 湖州话是我的what is it 母语 yeah. 福州话是我的母语，不是中文。So most of the stuff is coming from Fujianese. 你听过福州话不？But your parents can read and speak Chinese? They can read and speak Mandarin to some extent, yeah. And then I use that opportunity. Yeah, both my parents are educated enough to speak and read. They speak Mandarin whenever they're not talking to Fujianese people. Fujianese is the biggest concentration in this side of the United States, or this particular area of the United States. Otherwise, they improvise with English. They're illiterate in English, more or less, and they don't really use English. I act as an interpreter most of my life. Still do. And occasionally they would speak Cantonese, because we have Cantonese friends as well. And it's for a while I couldn't tell the difference, or like I couldn't, certain subtleties I like transition between Cantonese and Mandarin quite often, but when listening, not speaking. I don't typically speak Mandarin. Right now, it's a lot like you can say it's a lot easier for me to read words and stuff and then do a one-to-one exchange. Fujin, they're from Fujin. Fuzhou. Fuzhou is the place. Fujiu is the place as well. It's also the language or the dialect is named after the place. So Fujin is the province they're from. And the capital city is Fuzhou. However, both my parents left out of Hong Kong, I think. They emigrated out of Hong Kong into like New York City in the United States. That's usually the route that Fujonese is leaving. Ngoài mãi ni got Malaysia amo Hujiu knowing. Hujiu knowing Choi Sari Hujiu knowing he got me wori. Mãi amo Kianko Malaysia. Yeah. Don't know if Fujianese people ever immigrate to Malaysia. I'm not entirely sure. Are there a lot of mainland Chinese people who immigrate to Malaysia, or is it more like a heritage thing and now it's people who are multi-generational but they have origins in China? For myself, my parents are the closest thing to China. I myself did not get raised in China, or I didn't spend any significant amount of time in China. I technically in my childhood there was like a 2-year thing, but I was like 1 and 2 years old. I was like at most 2 years old, and I spent most of my time in the United States. However, most of my language is still retained because of being around parents, being around people. Nowadays, though, English is my common language. Spanish is actually the second language that is far more comfortable than these. And then Japanese is because, well, it wouldn't be a stereotype if a Chinese person, Chinese person growing up in the United States didn't catch on to the Japanese wave, which mine started around 5 years old. So it's been a while. All right, it's been a while. Hisashiburi desu. Right. Are you learning anything else, or are you learning Japanese by any chance? This little rascal that I know that is Malaysian, they are also interested in Japanese. And because traditional is great in this sense, because also traditional is outside of mainland China, right? You only can read hiragana. That's kind of funny because you can read the rest. You know what I mean? Zero. You can probably read the rest. So not only do you know how to read hiragana, which hiragana is like the Japanese part, and then you only got katakana left. The rest is Chinese, or there is Japanifying, right? There are Japanifying characters, but I think they're far and few between. You can't read katakana go, yeah. By any chance, did you, when you're learning Chinese, did you use the Taiwanese system, or did you just straight up went into acquiring Hanzi through looking at the characters? I forgot what it's called, but I haven't used it. I decided not to because I can link Chinese and Japanese, but what is it called? Zuying. Oh, you use pinyin? Pinyin. Okay. Zuying is I'm often curious if I meet anyone that have used Zu. What are the two words they use? Oh, Zu. No, 主音. Yeah, 主音 instead of pinyin. I use pinyin. Like most of my life I use pinyin. But I always wondered if I would meet someone overseas that use the Taiwanese system. Or I don't know which is the originator, but Taiwan is, by the way, the person who made this like Anki like thing is he's currently residing in Taiwan. Right? So lots of the little things. It's interesting that they decided not to use that system. Anyways, so pinging. You think only Taiwanese use it? Oh, okay. Right now, I see. Interesting. I wonder how it's like, because we've already gone through the Japanese, like the Japanese. I'm already like somewhat past the Japanese hump of looking at their kana, and it makes me wonder how interesting it is. Or like Korean, right? Korean has their own system as well. Interesting. May I ask, how are you still studying Chinese, or did you wait, you said 我没机会. Oh, 我没机会学中文. Oh, I think. 不是，我不是说说没有机会，我说的我没有读中文，好，但是有时间听到中文，说的话不太难，but however, reading is non-existent. So there wasn't like, I had many of opportunities to learn how to read Chinese, but I didn't. But yes, that kind of makes sense. 我没机会学中文。Your dad generation used to learn Chinese, and oh, interesting, in Malaysia, but you switched to Pinyin now. Huh. I didn't even consider that they went from one to the other. Do you know if the reason why the swap was because of English? Whenever I have spoken to a Malaysian person, which by the way, by sheer coincidence, in the United States, we have two family friends who are Malaysian, and their English is usually incredibly impeccable. It's to the point where Malaysian is a great example. Maybe because of New China, you're not sure. Ah, I see. Fair enough. Yeah, in Malaysia, in my opinion, is one of the places that whenever I talk about like something outside the United States where there might be some similar like aspects of having English but then another language kind of situation, but it's not like a formal thing, is where I would think. There are other places like Belgium would be like a Europe example, and then we have things like in the Middle East, but unfortunately I don't know any like that. I don't know any of that type of a language like Slovakian thing. Singapore, yes, and Singapore as well, but Malaysia is kind of bigger than Singapore. Not that size matters, but Singapore would be the other one. And and it's not a coincidence, throughout my life in the United States, Malaysian, Singaporean are the two national ones that typically I encounter that speaks Chinese. Outside of like China itself, right? There are Chinese internationals for sure, but it's usually Singaporean and Malaysian would be the other ones that speak Chinese. I haven't met any other foreigners who would have like Chinese as part of their speaking language, and not like a hobby thing. I mean, this is technically still a hobby for me, but it's connected to my life. Where now I can, if uh, I don't know how familiar you are with dialects. I wonder, does Malaysian have a lot of dialects? And I'm sure they're not taught, right? If there are dialects of Malaysia, is there like a national Malay thing, or do they just go with English? Because in China, or at least from what I understand, in China, the dialects are not taught. So there are no official things you can get from the internet or something like that. And my only source of Fujonese is my parents, and used to be my grandparents, my late grandparents. So there's no way I would be able to learn any of that. Yeah, you have many dialects, but you can't speak it. I see. What do you choose to speak, Zero? And may I ask, are you someone who's still in education? Like, are you still learning this stuff because you want to? For myself, it's been a wild ride. No? Okay. I'm no longer in education either, so most of this stuff is learning because it's been a long time. Yeah. Now I have use cases. You graduated last year. Oh. Graduated from what? You get to graduate 3 times. Which one did you graduate from? Or I actually don't know if Malaysia has the same system. It would be a little presumptuous, but I imagine there are at least 3 systems. 3 times you get to graduate. Actually, if we get to count it, technically, university, nice. What do you study, by the way? What do you study? I don't imagine it's in linguistics or something like that. Or maybe it is. So far I have not met anyone who graduated in linguistics. Electronic engineering? Ah, okay. Okay, that's fair enough. Yep. I don't think I have met someone who has had an advanced degree, because you usually don't find that, right? Because we're all studying languages. So those who like do linguistics and language, they're probably doing their own thing. Myself, my background was in genetics. I did genetics, and when I said graduating multiple times, um, high school, university, and then graduate school. Those are the 3 times. But I forgot that you technically graduate from elementary school and middle school, technically. But yeah, it's been, and it's been a while. It's been like 7 years since I've stepped foot inside a classroom. Electric engineering. Electronic engineering. What are you working now since you graduated last year? Interesting. I don't know what it's. I can't even imagine what it's like to be an electronic engineer in Malaysia. I'm not well traveled. I'm not a well traveled person. Like, I haven't ever been to Malaysia. Surprisingly, I have been outside of the country, but that was very long time ago. You're still chilling at home? You have any ideas what you're going to do? Sorry, I ask this type of question all the time because I think like, obviously I use the word kids. I'm not sure of how used to you are, but generally when the kids that I'm referring to, I often talk about, like, I get excited about what they're going to do with their lives. Um Anyone in their 20s is like what I would think if I was on track, if I was somebody who had a kid. Um Actually, on average, I would probably have a kid that is about to go to college. I don't have any kids, by the way. I don't actually even have a significant other. But kids are the talking topic of, I'm almost 40. So, um I often ask other people, like, hey, you graduated, so what are you gonna do? Most of my life, I enjoy hanging out with students. Like, what I mean is, like, helping them do schoolwork. I spend most of my time in education. So, whenever I see kids deciding what they're going to do with their lives or, like, what's their next step, it gets, it warms my heart to know that they're doing something or want to do something. Not that chilling at home isn't that great, but curious. Curious. Yeah, curious. So I guess now you just know you just know your Chinese and you know your English, it seems. And you say you don't speak any dialects of Malaysian. Do you speak uh like do you use it at all? Huh. They're trying to keep it on task on the language learning front. In before I need to figure out how does Xiang work. Okay. Let's cover the last two. So we have what? Sure. Wow, sure. Which sure is it? Show. That's not it. Oh, wait. No. It's sure. 想是 that was 想是 What do you mean? Anyway, you gotta go. All right, take care. Take care, Zero. Thanks for stopping by. Hope hope you enjoy whatever it is that you're doing. I'd be interested in hearing what you end up doing with like your future career and whatnot. Yeah, good luck, good luck. Thanks for stopping by. We're gonna be on this for the next couple years, so you're more than welcome to tell me some interesting facts or interesting things in your relationship with Chinese. Perhaps you can pick up Japanese as well, you know? Be fun. 想是 knowledge of show. Take care, take care. Oh, this is the appreciate. Guan, and then we have Guan. But the stork? Oh my gosh, what the heck? I don't remember stork. Writing. Whoops. Which one am I looking at? It's stork. Stork and eyes, right? How did stork and eyes work? I think it was modified flower, boombox, and a turkey. Probably that sounds fine. And then walking eyeball. One xiao. which is observe and enjoy. We gotta get these two straight. Actually, let's take a quicker look. We want to look at all our shang. Oh, what the? That's not what I wanted. Just want. Okay. So we have two appreciates actually. I guess we just got 欣赏 想是to be. Oh, okay, those are only three we're responsible for here. Okay. 观想. This can be definitely negated by saying observe and enjoy. We're looking for enjoyment, and to appreciate is external, and this is expression of internal as well. Okay. I think that's okay. We'll be able to do that. It's not too bad. Let me double check on Guan. Is it flower, boombox? Oh, stork, yeah. Flower, boombox, and turkey. One. Alright. That's it for today. Neat. We met another one. I'm kind of curious. It would be kind of fun to know if that little goober that I know from Malaysia, what if they are neighbors? Not that big of a coincidence, huh? Alright. Anyways, there we have it. It's a wrap for HanziHero today. We're not going to get to, obviously, Shogun Showdown today. We'll try to do it tomorrow. I guess this is going to flow into September. I did want to start doing some Spanish again. Been doing Spanish in the background, like practice Spanish in the background. So was going to resume the whole Duolingo thing. Basically, I was practicing I'll go over it sometime. Alright, folks, that's a wrap for HanziHero today. As always, so, if you're going to watch this later, 谢谢. Otherwise, feel free to follow along. Pick up HanziHero for yourself. Give it a try. Have an opportunity to speak every once in a while. I think it's not too bad now. Whenever someone openly speaks or writes in like Hanji or Hanzi, right, in Japanese or Chinese, I can kind of throw a few phrases in here and there, unapologetically, right? It'll sound weird here and there, but the idea is that I'm replacing a lot of my English words as I'm going, 下些 right 这些中文 then right 日本語 alright 日本語 here's some examples, right? Just throw in a few things here and there for their usefulness or their use cases. Eventually we're gonna get into the point where just lots of the introductions and whatnot, where I'm gonna get used to doing at least my 2 or 3 paragraph bit on introducing myself in the other languages. Start constructing my typical thing like, hi, how are you, right? Hi, how are you would be like, I don't know. I know it's not improper. Like a lot of people will say, well, it's unnatural to ask like, oh, konnichiwa, genki desu ka? Right? For example. But in my use cases we're talking about using phrases and using phrases in a way that it mirrors my expression. Not necessarily mirroring what a native person does, because I'm not a native person. So that's where we're going to transition, and then using that creates comfortable nature of using these terms, and then I can pivot to interacting with people, giving feedback. It's like, oh, okay, well, I can see why you would use this as a foreigner. It's like, yes, now you can share with me what your native approach would be, right? And that's kind of where we're headed, in order to spill some beans. This would be like 2026 to 2027, where we're using phrases in which I am internalizing from all my cross languages. I'm not going about this in a way that I think a lot of people do, or highly advised that people do, I suppose, where they are enforcing a situation which they don't encounter very often. So like when I'm talking about English, 中文 and Nihongo, I'm talking about typically in a situation in which I must understand how much they understand. So genki desu ka is a fairly something that will come up in someone who's learning Japanese from outside of Japan. So I use that as a leaping board. So if I say that and someone's like, oh yeah, most people would simply greet for the day and then go on with the topic, it's like, noted. So that's where we're going. I was gonna try to say a proverb in Chinese. There's no way. I don't have a good proverb to use in Chinese. Something about along the lines of there is a wide gap between someone who used a skill that they have versus knowing about the skill that they may have. I like the idea that unlike possibly the native way of learning things, like in China and in Japan, where you would be very reserved. You don't open your mouth unless you are responding to something. You study and only exchange when you're absolutely certain things. I like to imbue my own multiculturalism blend of behaviorisms to my studying habits. So no, I do not embrace a life of input only and then only opening your mouth when you're ready. A lot of times I open my mouth when I'm not ready because it opens to early feedback, and that feedback is what I want to do. The places and cultures that I grew up in are embracing of mistakes and learning from those mistakes. It's a combination of things. So in order to commit to something and actively learn from mistakes and feedback is not the same as what I would think is the native way to learn things, especially from a Chinese and possibly extended from a Japanese standpoint. Standards are definitely different, right? You can lose face in a face culture. I did not grow up. I grew up inheriting the face culture traditions, but I did not grow up in the face culture themselves. In fact, a lot of normalized behavior is that you are unapologetically committing to the craft of practice and using that practice create new inputs and feedback. So to present something, you certainly present it to the best of your ability currently. However, it is through the refinement of constantly doing something and providing new feedback that guides me towards things. I don't want to discuss about, or I'm not as enthusiastic as discussing all the theoretical ways of making your experience and learning experience the most optimal thing from day one. I am a blend. You optimize things and explore optimization of your things based on the feedback while you're doing them. And I think that's one of the largest cultural, noticeable, significant cultural dissonance between providing advice on language learning to someone who grew up in an English speaking, like an Americanized environment, for whatever that means, but more of a westernized environment versus the easternized environment. Now, some purists would suggest that if you're going to learn a language, you learn it from the people who speak it. And like, that's certainly one way to go about it. But to insist that it is the best way to learn it, I absolutely disagree. Like, respectfully disagree. Because innovation, creation, inheritance, and iteration do not occur making that assumption. So, like, historical human progress does not come from pure conservative traditionalism. Change happens, much like natural language. Natural language changes over time due to the embellishment and interaction of humanity as a whole, like its influence and being influenced. So yes, while I agree it is certainly one way to go about it, I can honestly tell you there's one thing that I often find a little bit befuddling, which is when someone says memorizing vocabulary is not the native way to learn things, and they say like, oh, do you know how Chinese students learn things? It's like, well, I certainly have never stepped in my foot in front, into a Chinese setting, but I can tell you that the thing that most people think is not native, as in like, oh, you should learn by native immersion and stuff, like, no, what I learned from my parents is that the first thing they think that is very natural to do is to learn vocabulary. Because at one point, most of those individuals who learned that language was in school. They were in formal education before. So there's this like really weird leap of logic and cognitive dissonance in saying that, okay, well now the most native way to learn it is to pretend like you're back in school. And then the first thing you do is to reject all the formal education structure. That's kind of weird. It's either it is or it isn't, or I guess it's both. It's both native, it's both natural and unnatural. Like, how did lots of people said things like, oh, you should learn language like you learned in school, right? Like when you're a kid. I'm like, yeah, I am. This is an example of how I learned when I was a kid. When I was learning English, I learned grammar, I parsed patterns, and I learned a lot of vocabulary. And then using that vocabulary, I contextualized it to my own personal conditional application. And then through that application, I've interacted with the people of my desired circle and then acquired their speaking ability through observation and feedback. Not paving out some idealistic way of what a normal English speaker sounds like or what a native English speaker is. So, in my honest opinion, ironically, when someone tells me the best way is to learn like you were a child, you immerse in things, that is not how I learned as a child. And whenever someone says things like, oh, Japanese people and Chinese people do this in order to learn that, no, not all of them do. In fact, a lot of them, ironically, a person who doesn't like formal schooling gloss over that. They hope they don't have to go to formal schooling anymore. In my opinion, if there's any place that's more consistent with formal schooling, like drilling, the archaic way that most people keep saying to abandon, you're talking about countries that do it even better, in my opinion. You're talking about countries who reinforce even harder on those principles. I would say, realistically, it's both unnatural and natural at the same time. Immersion is not a natural thing to do if you spend most of your school time learning vocabulary and grammar structure in that way. So they are both capable of being unnatural and natural. Like, when was the last time you told yourself, hey, socializing with people, talking and sharing opinions and then feedback is the most natural thing to do? Because immersion through input is an unnatural thing, in my opinion. You sit there, you observe, like, okay, it's the most natural thing now. Like, it's half the picture back then, in my opinion. So, cherry picking how the parts that you want is probably the TLDR here. You're cherry picking that you only need input because you have wishful thinking that, like the internet, all you can do is sit here and soak it all up, right? You sit here, you watch a lot of videos, and one day you'll magically be incredibly articulate and have the ability to navigate, despite having limited target language, navigate communication between other people and, sounding like you're invested in having application. I disagree. There are individuals who are native speakers that are incredibly, inappropriately inarticulate, and that's not to their detriment. They don't need to be articulate and have communication skills, right? And I do. So instead of completely imitating and adopting another thing, I want to bridge it. Slow and steady as she goes, as most people say. When someone tells me language learning is a marathon and not a sprint, I typically agree with them. But the way you proceed through that marathon, I probably disagree with most of those people, because they probably have an ideal of how they go about it, and I don't usually use that approach. And it's not to say, I'm not saying you shouldn't do whatever I'm doing or whatever we're doing. I'm suggesting that oftentimes a place of motivation that's consistent is within the scope of your passion. And my passion is that I love talking to people who command more than one language, are exposed to more than one culture, and have this flexibility, this accompany like a flexibility and open-mindedness in their language, in how they approach people and talk about things. Like, if you're coming up to me and saying, oh, this is the right way to do things, then I'm the wrong person to speak to, right? That's just the way it is, in my opinion, for that person. It's not just the way it is for a person who is open-minded, who is more exploratory and filled with different perspectives. Like when someone says Genki desu, my first like Genki desu ka, like as a greeting, to me, my first thought isn't, oh man, this person, it sounds so unnatural, because they probably think that it's the same in English where you say how are you, but that's a very personal question. It's like, well, have you considered the idea that some English speakers are very friendly and they're not Japanese? And it's funny because they did the thing that they kind of wanted to do in Japanese. So, like, oftentimes, how are you could possibly mean that how are you. Genki desu ka could mean Genki desu ka in that person's intent. But obviously that's a lot big rabbit hole to think of. Like ni churama, right? Would be something that I would say as a greeting, but it could be like, wait, why would you say that in Chinese? Why would you ask if you've eaten before as a greeting? The cultural differences. But using the language to communicate just the thing that you are communicating. So oftentimes, instead of informing people how they unnaturally adapt to something because of cultural differences, you got to wonder where you draw the line when they're actually literally trying to express that intentionally in the language that it was intended to do. Like, for example, what if the normal thing to do outside of Japan is to use the casual voice for everyday conversations between strangers? Because that was the intent of the culture outside. People are casual to each other. They're not formal to each other. Case in point is the internet. Rarely have I ever encountered someone who uses formal English to talk to me on Twitch, on YouTube, on Discord. There is no formal English. So if you're saying that the most natural way to learn, and then this became a contention point because when you're taught Japanese, right? In formal education settings, people end up using the formal, like teach the formal thing because that's a social norm, but it's contentious because then you have individuals who are learning Japanese and say, well, we quickly need to learn the dictionary form or the plain form because most people colloquially speak like that. It's like, well, yes and no. You can probably colloquially speak a lot of times amongst your friends, and then all the entertainment that you watch is colloquial because usually they depict friends and people who, but at the same time there are moments, or rare moments, where they speak formally. But when you go to Japan, you know, as a foreigner and stuff, you would use the formal speech. So that's kind of a great illustration of times are changing, right? In English, when I walk around in the United States, at least, or in my immediate area, I live in fairly formal, like, I don't want to use the term, but fairly highly educated areas, right? And when you go around and you greet, there's formal greetings exist, but they're rarely used. And online, there might be an internet Japanese in the future where when someone says, oh yeah, don't learn from anime, or don't learn from this, or don't learn from that, it's because it doesn't represent Japan, right? Or like it doesn't represent the usual things that Japanese people do. It's like, well, when you go to Japan, you have to learn those things. That's great. However, when you're not in Japan and there's Japanese being spoken, who gets to decide? And that is where I feel will be like a future dialogue. For as long as I learn Chinese and Japanese, I feel like that's going to be a future dialogue to have. Because when I go somewhere else and I speak English, I still get dictated to me how to speak English. Because the English that is spoken there have different normatives. So much like that, when a language is spoken elsewhere among other people, socialects happen. I love this term that one of the influencers, the linguistic influencers, dropped down. Socialects do happen, and that's oftentimes when I ask about dialects. But I don't think dialects are quite the right term. I think it's the idea of socialects, where nowadays I could say entire sentences using a mannerism online, and it would be incongruous with the language that you hear when you step into a university. So it's so palpable, yet because of the exposure that you're using, and here's my last bottom line for share. You have used these words, like words, if you're encouraged to apply words and use them freely in the sense of figuring it out, puzzling it together, is that not immersion? But hear me out. Some people would say, well, immersion is only if you are exposed to the right content, the right stuff, the right native, the selective native stuff. Okay, so you're telling me that the most effective way to learn is to remove the learning away from the person. Hear me out. Some people say, oh, no, that's not immersion. The real immersion is when you go into an environment and you get that I+1, you know, like it's out of your comfort zone. It's like, I understand that, right? That is great. You're always going to I+1 yourself. So you're always going to be slightly outside of your comfort zone. But that doesn't guarantee that the thing that's slightly out of your comfort zone is natural or unnatural. Most things that are slightly outside of your comfort zone is unnatural until you learn it, in my opinion. So that feeling of uncomfortableness and being unnatural, that stays all the time. Now, there are other avenues to understanding and piecing together things, and that is through use cases. If you start creating sentences, you are become intrinsically interested in how those sentences come together. Like when you ask yourself, I can't express this. And your first thought is, I got to wait for immersion to gift you how to say this. That is very different mindset than I can't say this, so I'm going to learn this specific thing in this very specific context and then use it again and see where it goes. So that's my different take on things. I find use cases and I learn towards those use cases. There's a great example of this that doesn't necessarily have to do with natural languages. It deals with constructed languages. And I think this is a great example that is very palpable and relatable to people without having to involve Japanese, Chinese, and cultural stuff. Constructed languages, like computer languages. Computer languages, I have a feeling not many people will disagree with me. So double negative, sorry. Most people likely will concede to finding this comment acceptable. Sometimes reinventing the wheel and practicing what you know, however limited it is, by working towards a project or an application can dramatically help you internalize the language because you've contextualized your use case to it. Now, immersion may be able to provide you serendipitously with something of interest. When you create with your limited things and try to solve those problems, it is always relevant to you. So it's a give and take. While immersion might limit or might mitigate how much correction or adjustment you'll have to make because you're using examples of it, it is also far more passive, or likely to be more passive, than creating something, working towards something, and it will always be relevant to you. But that requires a piece of thing that I was talking about earlier in Wanikani. That requires passion. Immersion is motivation. When you find motivation and inspiration, it can turn into a passion. If that is very attractive to you, that's awesome. But motivation is tenuous. Like I mentioned earlier, motivation is tenuous. It comes and goes. Passion comes and goes even less. So if you're a passionate person, create something with it. Engage when you learn something, find uses for it. If you can't say an entirely natural sentence, the mindset is you're trying to learn those bits to create that, and then use it anytime you want. Use it as many ways as you can, however rare or infrequent or natural or unnatural it is. When you use something, you'll find what is rare and what is not natural and what is natural over time. So it's not a distinction between spending your time focusing on what is the most desirable thing, what is the most normal thing, or not focusing on what's the most normal thing based on what other people are doing, is finding interest in it and creating it. And that's how I'm approaching language learning, because I do not plan on being monoculturally sensitive. I'm planning on how do I encourage people to see Japanese and Chinese approachable? And the first thing you do when you do approachable is, you really just have to really love willingly trying to be Japanese and abandoning your identity in order to be Japanese, right? It's like, well, yes, that is certainly one way to go about it. The other way is learning Japanese and also continuing to appreciate all your identities that you already have, right? You are not a kid anymore. You can form social associations, constructions. You can lean into all of the skills that you have as an adult to solidify your learning curve, your habits. These are things that I think whenever this topic comes up is so reductively reduced to nothing, in my opinion, or maybe to a very small, it's almost stigmatized. Like, hey, if you really want to internalize a new language, stop being an adult. Like, discard all your habits. Like, whenever you do this, yeah, that's your adult habits getting in the way of acquiring a language. That's kind of how I hear things. The younger they get, the less this is an issue, because you're young. You're, like, even 18 is still in my opinion, mentally young, in the sense that you have some flexibility. In adulthood, man, it is tough talking to older adults when the first thing they hear when they hear learning a language is that they have to uproot a lot of their established habits in order to accommodate the new thing. And then they are often advised, in my opinion, by the trendy younger people, or like very established adults, that the most effective way is to make sure that you sacrifice most of your adult habits in order to think a different way. I don't necessarily think you have to uproot things. You can transition into those things, right? Marathon, not a sprint, right? Your habits as an adult, you have a lot of disciplines, lots of things that you can provide motivation without needing an external source. So for me, it would be really awesome in the next year I could hold an introduction, like a 5-minute to 10-minute introduction in Chinese and Japanese. So when someone comes along and, right, konbawa, like, konbawa, genki desu ka? And I would say, oh, genki desu. I don't know, Nihongo o benkyou suru, right? Or, and so on. But I don't have anything worked out yet. Right now, all I have is response, right? I can only respond to things. Like, hey, are you Japanese? Ie, ie, right? 中国語 I mean, 中国人 アメリカ人です like とアメリカ人です I don't actually know how to go about saying 中国語 like American, like Chinese American. I would have to learn that. So I would go and say, oh yeah, what if I get asked this question? I'm gonna go and figure it out, right? Is it something that most Japanese people say? No, it's not, right? The first thing you think about is, should I ask a Japanese person, is it natural to say Chinese American in Japan? Like, well, no and yes. It's natural to say it in third person, but it's not natural for them to say it in relation to first person, because they're not Chinese American, they're Japanese. So those are the things that I feel we'll be talking about for quite some time. Like, how do you say Souls-like in Japanese? And then you can learn like funny, interesting facts. Like, hey, did you know Wario, right? Wario, which I don't know why I keep saying, instead of saying Wario, or like Mario, right? Mario, do they say Mario or do they say Mario or Mario, right? So I can't wait. That's a personal share for me for HanziHero today, right? As always, you're more than free to stop on by and ruminate and express your growing interest and integrating when you're learning a language or playing a game, studying something, because I think things are incredibly more memorable, in my opinion. This is a contentious competitive statement. When one ultimately applies and creates and finds application, that is a retention for a lifetime. So yes, most definitely, if you're N5, N4, and then HSK 1 through 4, you can become really competent, even, dare I say, fluent in executing those things when you are finding application for them, right? Application. Like, the last time I checked, at least even in English around the world, people still use below in high school level of English and may think that they are incredibly fluent, right? And I agree. You can execute things on your use case. So you can choose, like me, to learn willy-nilly a lot of things and then refine afterwards, or you can learn based on your use case. And I think that's a bit of a counter argument, or maybe a balancing point. It's a counterpoint for the current existing trend of trying to imitate a different lifestyle. You can try to imitate the lifestyle to capture the essence of a language and a culture. Absolutely. However, I don't believe, in my opinion, it's very cathartic and consistent when you have to reject your own identity to do so. And oftentimes, to me, I think it's that constant diligence of rejecting your own identity as opposed to leveraging your own identity in order to understand how you best learn is one that requires exploration, because giving up your agency, whether it's immersion or not, is still very similar to formal education or some of the drawbacks of formal education. It's prescriptional. So if someone comes up to you and say, yeah, you just gotta watch a lot of anime because I learned and became fluent in Japanese learning anime. And then meanwhile, you're thinking, well, I don't like watching anime. Why do I have to start? It's like, no, don't worry. You'll learn to love anime. It's like, that's not how that works, in my opinion. I mean, you can. I think the first thing I would do is probably relate to that person, right? Tell me something about yourself. Do you like computer language? What computer languages have you learned? And C++. I'm like, have you ever considered how'd you learn C++ to be applied to your language learning? Like other languages outside of C++, right? My 2 cents. More on that. It's underdeveloped. Like right now, all these ideas are definitely underbaked. They are like not even cooked at the moment. I'm still trying to iron out examples and whatnot. And it's not to beat out the competition. It's to add to it. I think it's wonderful when you have a resource that encourages the other person, the person who wants to do the task, to want to leverage what they understand best about themselves. I think nowadays, it's more like people telling you what you're doing best. They often is telling you they know better because they believe that you do not have the competence to even understand how competent you are, nor how you can correct and solve problems. Like, oh, if our method fails, then sorry, you got to go find other methods. Like, well, how do you find other methods? What point of failure in your method would point you to a different method? Right? So I like the idea that there is one very underlying principle that's missing, and that is the welfare and the integration of the spuriousness of the consumer, or the spuriousness of the person, right? Does the person have the capacity to realize when something is not working, something that is working, outside of the parameters of whatever limited metrics someone has in their product? Like, do you know what's not there? How much do you know what's not there? Do you know enough of what's not there and what is there to be able to say, okay, now it's time for me to drop this and move on to another thing and then integrate to this thing, right? I think a lifetime of maybe like 30 years of solid meandering around in education gives someone enough flexibility and tools and dynamics to do that. And I don't describe a lot of people. Lots of people went straight into work. They stuck to their one thing. They rarely get out of their shell, and that's perfectly wonderful when the environment you live in is stable. Japan is stable. Of For now, anyways, Japan is stable. So, one way to solve your problems is to uproot your life and find something stable. Alternatively, you try to solve the problems and adapt to the dynamics of your current environment. These are both potential explorations of a lifetime, right? So, seeking stability is a great telltale sign of someone who likes to be conservative with their approaches. I'm a little bit leaning towards the other end. I think humans can live a immaculately more dynamic life than trying to avoid instability. You can run towards instability and correct and make them stable. That's an alternative, right? I think I'm more of a 70-30 split right now. 70%, give me the challenges. I'll find a creative way to apply it to my use case, and the rest is history. I don't even have to worry about getting up and say, oh, I don't really like the way this person sounds, but that's just the way the language sounds. I take it in strides. I run with it. But, throw it in somewhere. Right? And when someone says, well, what happens if you learn it the wrong way? It's like, then we'll find out. We'll find out. Wouldn't you be worried about spending too much time correcting the wrong thing? That is where the logic fails. When someone is always applying and creatively trying to create new things or integrate new things, they are usually of the mindset that they can get and change very rapidly or adjust very rapidly. Their learning curve is typically shorter. So when you say, aren't you afraid of a bad habit that will be difficult to change? You're talking to someone, if you're talking to someone who isn't like that, they do change habits often. And what I mean is they reinforce and change and alter habits very often. So to them, that's their silver lining. Bad habits are not difficult in the sense of because that's well practiced. Someone who always rely on good habits and believe they always have good habits, the alternative is to challenge that person and say, do you understand what a bad habit is? Because if you're always learning the best and you believe you are always right, can you ever know when you're wrong and or suboptimal? So it's both. Okay, so in the end, the tagline is it's both. Having the ability to critically solve things and problem solve and be dynamic, a little fluid, is what, in my opinion, multiculturalism is about. It's what makes humans superhuman. They they synthesize the prior knowledges, like the knowledge sources and stuff, and they either iterate or improve upon it or change it. And it might not be changed for the ultimate good or the ultimate bad, but like it might worsen or improve. But the idea is humans learn when they have both the alignment of their sentimentalism, a consistent source of their sentimentalism, their passion, and an application, right? I think learning in a void with no application and constantly being provided what is right is a recipe that can work. However, in this day and age, rarely provides substantial, sustainable habit formation or motivation in order for it to become a newly found passion. Like, for example, immersion is not sufficient to have someone watch anime for the sake of learning Japanese to eventually develop a love for anime, like a passion for anime. In fact, I would say most of the time that passion, not only does it not form, fatigue sets in and the initial motivation disappears. So then there is a very low chance that person will ever develop a passion. because their heart or like their commitments and their habit formation lifestyle wasn't in it in the first place. You will not it is unlikely to establish something. So like the first couple of weeks I was like, graded readers are awesome, and then a week later it's gone, the enthusiasm's gone. It's like, but you can read different graded readers. That's what a creative person would say to themselves, not from a stranger. They would be like, you know what, this graded reader is not that great. How about I really like this, but you know, Japanese people don't recommend learning this stuff before, or like the immersion, that might be, but I really like it. So you're putting one and one together, right? Graded readers are great. Now, do you know what is it that interests you to apply it to graded reading? Because that's the two necessities, in my opinion. The effectors, the interaction hypotheses, right? The interaction hypotheses, the comprehensible inputs, like immersion stuff. Like it's a balance approach, right? I don't know if that's a theory or is that something out there, but I would say, much like my history with understanding abstraction of scientific theory and concepts, balance approach. Humans are rarely ever sustainably homeostatic in a specific activity when you have imbalance, when you have purity. At least in my opinion. I think that runs at the face of intellectual pursuits. Being static is legitimately the antithesis of enthusiasm, motivation, inspiration, or even passion itself. Passionless pursuits are ones in which you cap yourself, both figuratively and literally. With a modern use, you start to lie to yourself that doing the same thing in a very specific way is something that you can do for the rest of your life and still be intellectually interested in it. I think that's kind of like the opposite of being scholarly. You literally want to learn less about the process. You want to learn as little as possible about the experience of engaging in an activity that you're trying to develop, right? So in my opinion, that's why I think by the time 3 or more years rolls around and I've been language learning, I don't think my perspective will change from the balance approach to language learning. Whatever that is. I'm not even sure if that's a thing right now. But right now, like what I observe right now is an experiment that people are trying to do where they hope that you can take a specialized approach to learning a language, which is kind of myopic because those individuals probably also think that's why formal education failed, where they wanted to take a specialized approach to formal education instead of developing the skills to understand that you can acquire all the skills, however shoddy it is or mixed. You can bend them to your advantage, provided that you are open-minded enough and creative enough to intellectually circumnavigate that stuff, right? And as a child, it's very difficult because you didn't live long enough to experience that. I mean, there are some very privileged people out there that would be able to. Myself, it was very limited. All this discussion came from the idea that someone I knew had a temp job, and I thought, man, my childhood would be very different if I were introduced to the social norm of a temp job. I grew up knowing that I needed to understand everything school has, become a doctor, and that's it. It didn't happen, obviously, because the moment I left the nest, I was inundated and challenged with all the other possibilities. That's like kind of logging on the internet for the first time in your life. But obviously the internet was not around when I was like in this capacity when I was growing up. But now it is. So how do you navigate that? The first thing I would say personally, humbly, is that losing agency is something definitely worth discussing, especially for a younger person, and then even an adult. When you start to lose agency, you stop thinking for yourself, right? And there's plenty of countries and cultures that prefer that. So I'm trying not to be ignorant of this. There are plenty of countries and cultures that like that and works really, really well. You got to ask yourself, do you live in one of those cultures? Do you live in an appropriate way and in a way that is an adaptation, right? Do you live in a culture where if you don't get an A in high school, there's no other way to succeed? If you didn't become a doctor, you don't deserve respect of acclaim, right? That's something that's very direct. It's very important. If you are incapable of having a relationship with someone, then the problem is you, right? Sorry about those like slightly more direct ways, but there is an ebb and flow for me. So feel free, come on by. I would love to exchange. I would ask all the questions. I mean, you can sit here and answer those questions. Like, I like to get to know people through questions. I think it's incredibly revealing on how people ask questions, what type of information they believe they're comfortable in sharing, and we go from there. If you think there's something that you like to do that is incredibly obscure, by golly, I'll try my best to find something that's analytic, like maybe a distant analog for it, and then we can start there, right? Sharing experiences. It's pretty goated when you share experiences, find sentimental investments into an intellectual pursuit. My applications for learning Chinese is how I can get other people to learn Chinese. And what I mean by that is not like gaslight them for any reason. How do I learn Chinese and get people excited to learn Chinese simply because I'm excited to learn Chinese? Japanese goes the same for Japanese. Video games, etc. If it's one person, it's sufficient for me. So feel free, come on by. Until next time, right? So, for the record, as always, if you're only interested in HanziHero, 大家下次见, right? See you guys next time. 感谢观看. Thanks for watching. I'll be back. Hopefully we get to Shogun Showdown tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye.